What if I told you that in the year 1812, in a world ruled by bloodlines, power, and prestige, a barefoot peasant, born in the shadows of a crumbling empire, rose not just to lead, but to wear the crown of kings? This is not a myth. This is not a fairy tale. This is a forgotten page of real history. And today, we're turning it. Whether you're from New York or Nairobi, Tokyo or Tehran, this is a story for you. Because it's about hope. About rising when the world says, stay down. So stay with me until the end, because what happened to this man will shock you. The world that rejected him. Imagine a village without a name. Dirt roads. No books. No inheritance. Just hunger. This is where Tomas Darlin was born. No one wrote his birth down. His mother stitched clothes for nobles. His father died breaking stones for a war he didn't choose. He wasn't born royal. He was born invisible. But even as a child, Tomas would whisper to himself under the stars. There's more than this. There must be more than this. He was punished for thinking. Whipped for speaking up. Laughed at for learning letters in secret. But Tomas kept going. He snuck into town markets just to overhear stories from travelers. He learned of kingdoms beyond the forest, wars, rulers who bled like men, and revolutions that changed everything. The spark that ignited fire. In 1808, everything changed. A tax collector slapped his mother in the face. Over bread. Over one coin. That night, Tomas didn't sleep. He sharpened a stick into a spear. Not for war, but for justice. And he began speaking. In fields. In taverns. In whispers. We are not beasts. We are not born to kneel. At first, they laughed. Then they listened. By 1810, he wasn't just a peasant. He was a movement. When the soil starts to shake. The nobility called him dangerous. The priests called him a demon. The people? They started calling him Tomas the True. He gathered farmers, blacksmiths, midwives. He trained them with wooden swords. He mapped out old castle ruins. He wasn't planning a riot. He was planning a kingdom. But power always fights back. In 1811, the king's soldiers burned his village. His mother died in the fire. They thought that would end it. But grief doesn't destroy leaders. Grief forges them. The rise that shook empires. The rebel crown. Tomas returned. Not with an army, but with an idea. He stormed Fort Belair, a small outpost with 200 men and a symbol of tyranny. He and his villagers took it with pitchforks and torches. And at the top tower, he raised a black cloth stitched with a golden tree. The people called it the banner of the broken. One by one, towns joined him. Not because he promised riches. But because he promised dignity. The bloodless war. Now here's the twist. Tomas never wanted war. So, he marched not with swords, but with bread. He entered the starving capital of Veldon with wagons of grain and no flags, only the tree. And people, hungry, hopeless, welcomed him like a savior. No one fired a shot. The king had already fled. And just like that, the peasant was offered the throne. The crown that weighed nothing. He stood in the royal hall. The gold crown glimmered. But Tomas didn't bow. He said, "A crown worn in fear is a chain. A crown worn in service is light as air." And he accepted. Not as a monarch, but as first servant of the people. He abolished noble taxes. He opened schools. He banned public floggings. He hired former slaves as counselors. And for the first time, a nation led by a peasant thrived. The fall. And the legend. The enemy within. But not everyone was ready for change. In 1812, exiled nobles formed a coalition. They returned with 10,000 mercenaries, paid in foreign gold. Tomas refused to hide. He led his people to defend their freedom. Outnumbered. Under-equipped. He was last seen at the Battle of Red Hollow, holding the golden tree flag high. His body was never found. Some say he died. Some say, he vanished into the mountains. But a century later, a sealed letter was found beneath a library stone. Written by him. Signed to those who still believe. The tree still grows. Today, the flag of Tomas, a golden tree on black, still waves over village wells and schoolhouses across what was once Veldon. His name lives on in street corners, songs, and secret toasts around campfires. Not as a king. Not as a ruler. But as a reminder. That a dream in a peasant's heart can move mountains. What if you're next? So here's the truth. Tomas Darlin didn't rise alone. Every person who listened, who hoped, who stood, made his rise possible. And maybe that's the point. Maybe this story isn't just about a peasant who became a king. Maybe it's about you. You, who've been told you're not enough. You, who feel small in a giant world. You, who carry fire in your heart. Because what if the next forgotten hero isn't buried in the past? What if it's you, watching this video right now? Subscribe for more forgotten legends, true tales, and secret histories that inspire. Because some stories aren't just meant to be heard. They're meant to wake us up. This was, When a Peasant Became a King, the Untold Rise of 1812. Until next time. Keep believing. Keep rising.